call the meeting, open the meeting. It is August 13th, 6 p.m. or 6:01. All right, roll call. Yvonne Harper.
Rod Banner, here.
Kevin here. Here.
Ian Schallmurder here.
Alex Crawford here.
General Manager. All right, well, we need to make a motion to amend the agenda. We have, before we approve it, we have to add the approval of minutes from the June 9th, 2015 meeting. That will be added under the unfinished business, so it will become 8D. And we are going to add the payment of $17,718.87 to FSR for payroll invoice. That will be added under new business A. Any discussion?
Will be approved.
All in favor of approving the amended agenda? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so no committee reports tonight, unfinished business. The budget process, again, the dates, April, put the dates on the table over here for those who were not here on Tuesday. So I will review the dates real quick. August 25th, Rhonda and April will do a preliminary review of the 2014 actuals and the January through July 2015 actual with the upcoming projects highlighted. On September 3rd, myself, Deanne, Rhonda, and April will meet for a review of the preliminary budget. September 8th, the post-preliminary for members will take place, and it will have available at a regular board meeting on the 8th and the 9th. So the post-preliminary for members will be available at the regular meeting on September 8th and September 9th. September 15th, there will be a member budget workshop at 6:15. September 17th will be a board budget workshop at 5 p.m. And September 22nd, there will be a board budget meeting to approve the 2016 budget.
Make a motion, we approve it as presented.
My second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The method of returning to staggered terms, we discussed this on Tuesday. I will let Kevin state his motion.
I make a motion that we accept the new policy as it was presented at the meeting.
You want to read it?
Find it.
We have color coordinated books.
No, that's all I know.
It is, right? You want me to read it?
Yeah, you got it handy.
All right, so the policy will be the board member from the 2015 with the fewest number of votes will serve a one-year term. However, should another board member who is serving a two-year term resign from the board, then the member serving the one-year term will have the option to complete the two-year term for the replacement board member serving until the next election. This policy will sunset at the July membership annual meeting on 2016. It is just to reestablish the staggered terms on the board. I move to approve this staggered term policy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to the vehicle for the architectural staff. 2 trucks were presented, the Toyota Tacoma and the Ford Explorer Sports Track. So, in discussing it, and there was a couple of people who emailed me who had asked if we could just go for a newer model and that would have fewer miles. So there is a third option that we can vote on tonight if that's the desire. We can go up to $15,000, taking $8,000 that was budgeted for the car, and then taking $7,000 from the undesignated operating reserves, undesignated operating funds. It's bringing the total to $15,000. And so if that is approved, then the amount would be up to, and no more than $15,000 for a vehicle for the architectural staff. Discussion to
I like this idea of perhaps looking for a better vehicle. I'm a little uncomfortable with with either, one being that the Exploder has 121,000 miles. No, I call them Exploders.
You meant to say that.
Has 121,000 miles, which is an awful lot. And it appears, I think Joe or somebody pointed out the fact that it sure was within like 35 cents of what our top dollar was or something. The other vehicle, I appreciate your due diligence, and it sounds good, a Toyota with 93,000 miles, but something tells me that it's been through 3 owners. It must be a dog somewhere along the line. So I like the idea of maybe bumping up the total and looking a little further rather than jumping at that.
Anyone else?
I agree with Rod on that. I think we could get a better vehicle that's probably got less miles and less chance of being abused in the past. That's been a little extra.
Yes.
Have you ever entertained leasing a vehicle instead of putting a certain amount down and then budgeting the payments, put that in your budget for the following year? That way you wind up with a vehicle with 0 miles on it and a full warranty.
I've asked the question, I've got a couple of responses back, but right now what the issue is we're a not-for-profit, and these are considered our capital assets, and for us to lease is a little bit different than owning and replacing, because we're required to do certain things for GAAP accounting. So I don't have a definite yes or no on lease, but it sounds to me like we're not legally supposed to do that.
Okay.
All right, so I will make a motion to approve the total expenditure for a vehicle for the architectural staff at $15,000, no more than. $8,000 will come from the budgeted car replacement, and $7,000 will come from the undesignated operating funds.
That was your motion? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to new business. The first item will be to approve. No. Oh yes, I call it. I missed her scribble. Sorry.
It's D.
Miss Kevin scribble. Okay, so unfinished business is to approve the minutes from the June 9th, 2015 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that settles all the old minutes, is that correct? All the
Yeah,
old
that's
minutes.
Who made the motion on that? No, we just approved it.
No way.
Right, so the new business, the first item would be the payment to First Service for $17,718.89. Again, as I stated on Tuesday, there were some questions about me authorizing this payroll expenditure. Board presidents have the authority to authorize payroll invoices, however, and that was disclosed at a Tuesday meeting. There was, it was discussed individually with each board member. There was not a board meeting, but each board member was aware that this was going to take place. But in the interest of openness, that check has been canceled, and it will be discussed tonight. As I stated on Tuesday, the reason for approving it is there is a remaining balance of $17,718.87 for accrued payroll for 13 full-time employees that were on staff as of April 3rd. Again, this is for vacation time. These individuals' vacation was paid in full, so whatever balance that they have to take that balance before their anniversary date. I used the example of Rhonda. She had taken 8 hours prior to April 3rd. She was paid for 72 hours. She must take 72 hours before her anniversary date of February of next year. While it may seem as if they are accruing time with simple HR, this is not the case. Rhonda has been in contact with Julia with simple HR to let her know that The employees have to be balanced out, and she has listed the employees so that they are not double dipping, if you will. So this balance is just a simple reimbursement to First Service for vacation time. They have a bucket system. We can debate the merits of the bucket system, but that's not what this item is for. So I'll open it up for discussion. So I make a motion to approve $17,718.87 for accrued payroll for vacation time to First Service, and that will zero that account out. Open it up for discussion.
I have a question about this. Why are we paying for future leave? I mean, I looked at the contract. I looked at the Continental contract and both addendums, and there is nothing in there that talks about a bucket list. The only thing that we were required to do as a Holley by the Sea, is to pay for the health insurance for the remainder of the month for the time that they were gone. Now, where is this in the contract that there was a bucket list and that we paid for accrued leave, non-accrued leave?
It's not the bucket leave, the bucket system. That's the system that they use. They're
When
not
did
the
that
only.
bucket
They're not the
system-
only company to do so. I am not going to debate the merits of the bucket system. The bucket system simply is that they get their leave up front. So on the anniversary date, they get their full year's leave. Now, for many of us, especially military backgrounds, this is contrary to what we are used to, which is an accrued system. So you get 30 days a year and you get 2.5 days a month per month. They use a bucket system. I'm not going to sit here and debate with you the merits of the bucket system. So the point is, they were paid for their accrued, for their entire years of vacation leave, because, for example, and Ronnie gave me permission to use her. In February, she received 80 hours of leave. Of vacation. I'm going to say leaving, please excuse me, military vacation. April 3rd, she had used 8 hours. She was paid for the balance of that of 72 hours. That's what First Service paid to all the employees. If there was a balance, they were paid. We are simply reimbursing them. Now, Rhonda must take the 72 hours that she was paid for before her anniversary date of February of 2016. She has to take that. She will not be paid for it. She will not accrue leave from Symbol HR. She will not begin
I
accruing
understand that.
leave
That is
until
all. You
February.
explained that before.
That's as simple as it gets. They were paid, we are reimbursing them.
Yes,
That's it.
my problem is it wasn't in the contract, and I want to know why they went to a bucket system. and
I don't
it's
know why
not
they
in
went
the
to a bucket system.
When
I
did
am
they
not,
go to a
I am
bucket
not
system?
going to debate the merits of a
When
bucket
was the
system.
bucket
They went to
system
the bucket
initiated?
system at the beginning of the year. That was a business
The
decision on
15th, at
their,
the beginning of 2015?
that was a decision on their part.
But
They are not making any money.
They are making money. They're charging 25% on this money.
They paid vacation time. That's what this is. This is vacation time for 13 employees. 2 were not offered a job. 2 were offered a job but chose not to return. 2 accepted positions but left within 30 days. And 7 continued employment. This is for vacation time only. That's what this is for. No one is making or getting rich off of this. They paid their employees' balance of their vacation time based on their bucket system. Again, I am not going to debate the merits of the bucket system. If you wish to do that, please see me after the meeting. That's not what this is about. This is about clearing what is owed to First Service. That's it.
First,
So if you wish to discuss that, then we can discuss that.
yeah, I have a problem
I know.
with paying, for example, the general manager who no longer works at Holley by the Sea. We are paying 25% on top of this money. We are paying PTO by the policy that you're citing, that was First Services policy. They said that upon termination PTO would not be carried forward, PTO would be lost. In other words, use it or lose it. Yes, we have to
I'm
pay
going to
for
interrupt you, please.
everything.
This was explained to you in a meeting with Alex Fambry before she left, and also with Rhonda. You were made aware of the total of $44,960.70, $17,718.87, so that was for accrued vacation time. You agreed to it, you closed a session for a closed executive session of which you told the board members you knew nothing about it. You voted to not approve the $17,718. We can discuss this, but I'm not going to debate with you something that you already knew. And that's it, and if I have to choose between who I'm going to trust with regards to facts, I'm going to trust Rhonda because this is her job. And why would she lie to me about this information?
Why indeed? I
Why
agree.
indeed?
Okay, what have you got in writing? I agreed to pay what had been accrued, what we owed. You keep using the word accrued. This vacation is not accrued. This is advanced vacation.
It's a bucket system. It is the system that was put in place by FSR.
Okay,
They are not the only company.
They are not
They are not the only company to use a bucket system. This was something that they implemented company-wide at the beginning of the year. And because our employees were still their employees, they fell under that system. I'm with you. I don't agree with the bucket system. I think someone should accrue leave. That's what I think. However, that was not the system that was in place when First Service left, and they paid, for example, Rhonda had 80 hours. She had used 8. She had 72 hours left. She was paid for that 72 hours. First Service paid the 72 hours. So she has to take 72 hours of vacation time off, before her next anniversary date, because we have a budget. We have budgeted for each employee's vacation time. If she does not take the 72 hours, we're paying her for an additional 72 hours of work that we have not budgeted. So she has to take this time for that reason and because she was paid for it.
Then why do we have to pay First Services 25% charge?
Because we fired them.
No,
That
we
was-
don't. No,
we-
the 25%.
Holley by the Sea terminated their
No.
contract.
No.
That was part
You're
of the
not
payout.
No, it wasn't part of the
That
payout.
was part of the payout.
It
We
was
have
not.
to reimburse
You're
them.
completely wrong. We
Okay.
paid 30% for,
We either pay 25 or 30, you keep changing it.
we paid 30% on people that, had not worked for
We
Holley by
are
the
not
Sea.
talking about liquidated
We're not talking
damages.
about-
We're
we're not
talking about
talking about
vacation time.
30%.
We're
I
not
know.
talking about liquidated
I know
damages. We
we're
need to
not.
stay on point. This is
I'm
about
trying to stay
the
on point.
vacation time.
The 25% is the so-called labor burden. So we are paying First Service 25% on top of all of the charges for this advanced vacation.
It's not advanced vacation because these individuals, these employees still have to take that time. And they have to take it without pay because they've already been paid.
So what happens if an employee leaves?
Then they leave.
Then you gotta pay us back.
Then they should have to pay us back.
Well, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but that's not the issue tonight,
But
is
not,
it?
well, but this is how this has been set up. Everybody discussed the last meeting, you know, $100
This was discussed in a closed
or whatever.
meeting by your former board. This was not discussed in an open
It was
meeting.
voted on
In a
the advice
closed
on legal
session.
advice, yes, on closed session, and we have another board member here that was present at that time, at closed session, that we would not pay that on legal advice.
And I'm not going to state why we were advised not to, because we just received communication indicating why we should not pay that, and that is not that's not for open discussion.
I'm not gonna say the reason,
Yes, and neither am I. But you and I both know the reason why, and that does not make it right.
At that time, that was not the reason. At the time the charge was made, the reason that we were given was because this was just something they had decided upon. Suppose First Service said, well, we're gonna give everybody their year's pay up front. So because First Service did it, Holley by the Sea
We
was
need to
obliged
stay
to
on
do
point.
it.
This is about vacation
No, it
time that
isn't.
they paid.
It's
First Service
it's on
paid
point.
the vacation time. We will either approve the reimbursement or we will not.
It's on point in that
No,
we
you're
understand.
now dealing with hypotheticals, and if they pay their entire year's salary, that's not what this is about. We are going to stay on point with regards to the $17,718.87 for accrued payroll vacation. That's what this is about.
Let's not use accrued. This is.
You're right, the bucket system.
Right, because what we did, we took everything that they had accrued, and let's differentiate the word, up to the end of April. and we paid that out.
Yes, you did.
And we
But
paid everything.
the employees were paid for their full vacation time. This is just simply a reimbursement of that.
But again, that was first services option.
Well, that was the
We were
system,
not
that
given
was
the
the system that was in place
But
when they were terminated, so.
But nobody at Holley by the Sea knew there was this new, so they instigated a new system.
Yes, they instigated a new system just to screw Holley by the Sea.
Well, they didn't
No,
inform Holley by the Sea.
They instituted a system company-wide, and they are not the only company to use a bucket system. Again, I don't agree with it. You and I agree that the bucket system is not the most economically feasible system to put in place. However, that's the system that was in place when we terminated it.
My interest is in spending the members' money for this.
Now, not before.
Oh,
All of a
Okay,
sudden.
all right, Deanne, you had a question?
Okay.
So my question is this, Ms. Crawford, you're the board president at January 2015. You obviously had interactions with FSR at that point in time.
And I never
You were
said this.
you were in talking with them. Did you not bother to ask anything of new policies coming down the line for the new year? Did you not sit and discuss anything with them other than you're out the door, we're done?
Okay,
I mean, come on.
I'm gonna call this back to order to the point of, the motion was to pay per services.
You
The
have
remaining
someone
balance
who-
is $17,718.87 for vacation time that was paid out to the employees. That's the motion.
you have somebody with.
I understand I have someone to speak, but I have no interest in going back to what was. I have interest in moving forward. This will clear what we owe, and we can move forward. So I was just calling the board back to order to discuss the point. Yes, Ms. Crouch?
I'm gonna guess at why the advice was not to pay them.
Can't hear you.
Can you turn it on?
Is it on? I don't know.
Look on top.
Oh, I have to look at my way. I'm gonna guess that while we were advised not to pay it, at the annual meeting, we heard that there is a federal discrimination suit.
You know, we're not, this is, I'm gonna do a point of order. We are discussing this. We are not
I'll bring it
discussing
back to
any
you.
other
I'll make the connection.
litigation, legal issues.
I'll
We
be
are
happy to
not
make the connection.
going there. No, there is no connection. You can either agree with this or you cannot agree
I
with this.
disagree.
But I am not going to allow any member or any board member to discuss what you think, or you may not think, or what you think you can assume about why we were advised to not to pay or to pay this.
Okay,
That's
so
not
much
what this
for-
conversation is
okay,
about,
okay,
and
can
while
I-
you got that information, you would have gotten confidential information that should not have been
I did
shared
not.
outside of board meeting or outside board members.
Can I share with
So
you what
then
I
don't assume you know why.
Okay. I do not understand why we are willing to pay $17,000 to a company that currently has us in a position of litigation with no insurance.
It's two separate issues. And again, I am not going to discuss the litigation that is ongoing with a former employee. Okay? This is a separate issue. They paid Holley by the Sea former FSR employees, some of whom are now Holley by the Sea employees, vacation time. These individuals who stayed must take the balance of their vacation time without pay, and they cannot begin accruing vacation time until they've done that and until their anniversary date is met. So we are simply reimbursing First Services for them paying our employees the full vacation time under the system that they had when their contract was terminated.
Does our
That
contract,
is what we are
does our
discussing.
contract require us to pay it? Are we required by contract to pay it?
The contract was terminated. This was part of what was paid out because of a contract that was terminated.
But does the contract say what happens if termination occurs?
It does, because we had to pay the 30%.
Not for all the employees.
No, we had to pay the 30%.
Not for all the employees.
We
I
had
guess-
to pay 30% for employees
That we-
that had not been with Holley by the Sea
I
prior to
move
their
the
service.
previous question.
What?
I move the previous question.
What is that?
That means that we will hold a vote on my motion to move the previous question. If it passes by 2/3, the date
Oh, you're
is
calling
finished,
the question.
and we immediately hold a vote.
Yay.
Can I get a second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Alright, ready to
Can I
restate
ask
the
a
motion?
question just real quick about it? I just want to clarify in my mind. I'm not going to argue with it. So what we're talking about is employees that are currently here, we're essentially paying FSR and they're still going to use that vacation, so it's not costing us double money.
No.
The only real thing in dispute was the 25%, which is what, $4,000 that we paid them for a labor burden. So that really is the amount that we could argue about, but the reality is we're not double paying money because they're going to use that vacation and we're not going to pay them for that. So there's no real harm to the association. Is that correct?
That is correct. Again,
Can I make
two
one
were not
correction?
offered a job with the transition, so their vacation was paid out. 2 were offered a job but chose not to return. 2 accepted positions but left Holley by the Sea within 30 days, and 7 have continued employment. So the $17,718.87 covers the vacation that was paid for those employees.
Can I correct the member, just so you're clear? This is all of the people who worked at Holley by the Sea. Even though they are still retained by First Service, how do we know they're not double dipping?
Because I have an email from Rhonda that she sent to Julio at Simple HR, instructing her to zero out the accounts of those individuals who are still here so that they are not accruing vacation time with Simple HR until they reach their anniversary date.
What about
Again, when
the-
it comes to who I'm going to believe, I've already stated that. And I have the email that she sent to Simple HR indicating that the people here who have to take that vacation time, they are not to accrue any vacation time with Simple HR until they reach their anniversary date.
So for clarity, have the people who did not
We're gonna
come
move
to
to
work
vote.
for Holley by the Sea, please answer my question.
We're
Are
going
the
to,
people-
we're going round and
Debate on
round.
this issue is closed.
We're going round and round. I'm gonna call the,
We got new business.
Right.
Where we're at.
so again, the motion to approve the $17,718.87, I got a second, can we vote on it?
It was seconded and it was voted on 4-1.
Okay, moving on.
That was the vote for the call to question, was 4-1.
Okay, let's vote on the motion to approve the 17,000, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
Right, it's 4-1. All right, moving on to the GM maintenance request for replacement of sports equipment. She provided us with the items that she needed, and I move to approve providing her the authority to purchase these items at the commercial price, which is the second column.
Total of $5,513 for all of them.
Total of
$5,513.
$5,513. Do you need any leeway with that with regards to,
Shipping, I'm sure.
so what would be the up to then?
Part of it is those picnic tables, so probably 6,000.
6,000 would be enough to cover shipping? All right, so I make a motion to approve authorizing the general manager to spend 6,000 on the items listed. It would be a pool balls, pool sticks, air hockey table, foosball table, exterior tables for tennis and breezeway, and the drinking fountains.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Moving on to the flood insurance policy. Again, just to recap, the general manager was unable to find the appraisal, and we do have to insure the building at the appraised value, so as such, I would recommend approving the insurance for the $400,000 for the building and the $100,000 for the contents, with deductibles of $1,250. This is for flood insurance, and the premium that would be due would be $1,991, and it needs to be paid by August 29th, 2015. Can I get a motion?
I move that we accept Wright's bid for $1,991 for flood insurance.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So moved. All right, the next item is the beach house usage policy. After listening to the feedback, it was redrafted and sent out to the board members. Just to recap, in order to, with the usage, it's a private facility for the benefit of Holley by the Sea property owners and renters in good standing, and restricted to property owners in good standing and renters of property owners in good standing who have completed transfer of usage form on file. That meets what you were looking for, right? Alex, does that meet what you were?
I see the 75 guest passes, but I still have an issue with the definition.
No, on the very first page, because before you had issues with
Well, I had,
property owners and their children, so I just,
Well,
it's just
no,
property owners
no.
in good standing.
what I had issues with, just so that I'm clear, is that people who were not necessarily the property owners, that could be a relative of the owner, a resident in the home, that by the standing usage policy would be members.
If someone is classified as a member, then they can rent or reserve the facility.
Okay, but that doesn't,
Because
that
there
isn't
is-
what it said.
All it
You
says is the
said
association
owners.
member will be a member reserving and using the Holley by the Sea. Okay, and the front page is Holley by the Sea property owners in good standing. Those would be the members. A property owner in good standing is an association member. So
Well,
an association member would
no.
thereby be able to rent the beach house.
The set of members is bigger than the set of property owners. I am a property owner,
Yes, so therefore you are a member.
I'm a member. My daughter is a member by dint, and I'm going to be personal about this, although this isn't my whole issue, but my daughter is a member by dint of having a usage exception. She is not a property owner. So the set of members under the current definition is larger than the set of owners. If you have a mother-in-law, Meemaw and Pawpaw, in your words,
Did
living,
you like that?
yeah, Meemaw and Pawpaw living with you, or some other blended family, they, under the current policy, would be members, but they would never be property owners.
So you would
I
like to,
would like that word to say members instead of property
well
owners.
then it wouldn't really be keeping with the covenants, which is the intent of this, is to bring it in line with what the covenants state.
So then is the intention to rescind the usage?
We're not on the usage policy right now, we're just with the beach house usage, and it is property owners and renters of property owners in good standing.
So
Because that is keeping in line with the covenants.
So in that-
we will need to revisit the usage policy if we are going to remain a private facility. But that
Well-
doesn't mean that Meemaw and Pawpaw or your daughter could not use the facility if they are with the member, because they are a member, but the person to rent it would be the property. It is available to property owners in good standing.
Right.
Renters of property owners, and obviously their guests.
But my point is that somebody that is now a member would be a guest at the beach house. Rather,
Under the current policy,
they
yes.
would. Under the current policy, yes, that's exactly right.
And what we're trying to do is, instead of having one policy that's in violation of the covenants, instead of having two policies, we're going to still have one until we correct it.
So in other words, the usage policy will be rescinded, just so that I'm clear.
At a future date, it will be addressed for discussion.
Okay, I understand. Not surprised, understand.
The point is to bring the policies in line with the covenants, as you are well aware of the reasons why, but we have to get our policies in line with the covenants. And a byproduct of this is hopefully enough people will see the need to change the covenants. And the only way we're going to change the covenants is if we actually try to enforce them, and that's what this policy strives to do. And I understand that that will affect a good many people. But that's the only way that they can ever possibly hope to be changed. Because if someone is not affected by the usage policy, such as your daughter, you've used her before, and I'll use you as an example, if that's okay, you ran for the board because your daughter, was affected by the covenants that state she is not a member, given her age, because she doesn't fit the parameters of the covenants. So we should change the covenants, not keep piecemealing with different policies that change from board to board. That's the goal.
Prior to the board, before my board, there was a consistent policy. The attempt was made by the previous board to force people to vote for the change in the covenants, and that didn't happen. So really, this is just going back to, we're not gonna allow, people with special reasons,
No, we're trying to just get back to the covenants. I think the covenants are outdated, and I agree with you. I think we agree more than we disagree, and I think that they need to reflect today's terms.
but
But
unfortunately,
they
that isn't
don't.
gonna happen.
No, I think it can happen, but the only way to start it is to have policies that reflect the covenants, and that is one of the things that this board hopes to work on, is to change the covenants part by part and to get enough people to vote on those changes. That's the goal of this,
Well,
because we can either be public or private, and again, Kelly?
It's extremely hard on the people who.
Of course it is.
Yes,
The
it
covenants
is.
are. And if we enforce the covenants to the T, people would not be allowed to have brick mailboxes and your trash cans and your boats but it has to start somewhere, because every board that comes here changes the policies, and the homeowners don't know if they're coming or going with regards to policies, because they're consistent, they're constant. That's the one constant in Holley by the Sea, is your policies change to reflect that instead of working on the root issue, which is the covenants. Kelly?
I think Ms. Crawford, I think you're confusing the definitions. There's only one homeowner per lot. Everybody else in the household is members. That one homeowner is responsible for everything the members do. So by only saying homeowners, I think that's correct, because the homeowner's responsible. Now, if the homeowner chooses to allow their members to rent the facility, and their members, take my 18-year-old son, for example. I come and sign the paperwork as a homeowner. I allow him to have a party at the facility. I'm responsible for that facility. So, homeowners in good standing, I think, is a correct definition, the way you have it. We have to remember, members are not homeowners. There's only one homeowner per lot.
Thank you, Kelly.
So in order to address the issue with the guest passes, is what we did, and I think it's a good compromise, is the facility can have up to 150 people. That's the max capacity. So what we've done here is we've created an event guest pass, which is separate from the guest passes that the 30 guest passes provided for the use of the facility here. So when an individual a homeowner rents the beach house, they will be provided 75 event guest passes, which allows their guests who are non-members to access the beach house only. Those passes will be provided. They can request more, and that will just take the approval of the general manager and 2 board members. It doesn't matter which board members they can approve it. So as long as that individual goes to the general manager and says, hey, I need 50 more because we have 100 as opposed to 75, she approves it, she gets in contact with 2 board members who approve it, and they're given the passes. Okay? So that seemed to be a way to reach a compromise on that. Again, the issues with the cleaning, instead of an all or nothing, if additional cleaning is required, it will be in 30-minute increments, and the individual will be charged $30 for the 30-minute increment. Yes?
Hey, Yvonne, I got a question about the event gas passes. Isn't that going against the covenants as well? Because each member has 30 guest passes.
No, this is because this is the beach house, and they can have up to 150. That's the capacity of the beach house. This is just the beach
So
house.
are we just making up guest passes there?
30 is also
Okay.
Let me answer this.
It's not in the
what-
covenant.
What it is
That's
we've
not in the
got,
covenants?
No.
the covenants just say that we can establish a policy regarding guest passes.
Yeah.
And so what, instead of,
There's
there's been a policy, but we don't even know who created it originally.
And we try to find it, like where it actually, where the number 30 came from, and we can't
And so,
find it.
instead of just making people only have 30 guest passes, obviously they're renting a facility for an event. And so that's why the event pass was created, just to make it separate and independent, where they don't have usage of the rest of the facility, where if they were using regular guest passes, then they would be able to technically use the entire facility. And, if they're down there and, got a couple of kegs going, we don't want a bunch of folks staring all over the kids in the pool, so.
This is the first time I've seen this. I've been out of town and stuff, so it's the first time I've seen this. I have another question too,
Yes, ma'am.
about the reservations that can only be made 60 days out.
Yes.
That, if I'm planning a wedding, that's kind of difficult to do, just 60 days out. I mean, say your daughter wants to get married, most of the time, you're a year out looking for a venue. I mean, 60
And
days,
that was something that
60 days
we
is,
discussed.
60 days is hard to
It
plan.
is.
You can't
You're
plan
right.
it in 60 days.
But one of the reasons for that is because there are committees that will rent the beach house months in advance, and because that beach house is for the use of all the members, then that is a way to ensure that everybody has access to it. So you don't just have one set group, planning these functions months out. So, right now they've already booked for, holidays where maybe I'm having a family reunion and I'd like to reserve it for Thanksgiving. But right now that's done, it's gone. So it just allows a greater opportunity for more people to rent it. That's what it is. And we did discuss, like with weddings and events, and that was a consideration.
60 days can be waived by the board.
Yeah, 60
You bring-
days
you
is,
bring it to the
that's
board.
just way too short,
Yeah,
I
any
feel.
policy.
Yes, and
I feel
there
that's way too short.
There is an exception in this, in that if an exception is to be made, the member can, again, bring it to the board. They can make the request.
Okay,
and
and
that
you're
is
gonna,
something.
and they are gonna be aware of that
It's in here.
when they get that, okay.
It's it's
I
all-
haven't had a
it's in
chance
here,
to
and
read
they-
all the way
yes.
through it yet.
And there is
I'm sitting down trying to read and listen, so
It's
it's
a lot, right?
difficult, yeah.
Can you make sure all the employees would know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That there's an exception and they'd have to come to the board if they want to have a family?
Anybody else?
Well, it's just sometimes the employees don't have.
I make a motion that we accept the beach house usage policy as it is written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
April, do you have employee training, right? Do you have like employee training, right?
Yes.
So we can go over this at the next one, okay? All right, the next new business item is the late fees and finance charges. Again, there were 10 individuals who, through no fault of their own, were charged late fees, and so.
Is that in the maintenance thing that she's got, just to get all new microphones so we can hear?
Pardon? Oh, to get your, microphones. We just want to see if you're paying attention.
Plenty of money for duct tape.
Because when it goes out, then you have to.
It's out.
Is it out again?
Yeah, it's out.
I could shout. Can everybody hear me?
Just speak up. Bruce, Jackie.
Okay, so there were 10 homeowners who were charged late fees through no fault of their own. They had submitted their annual assessments prior to January 31st, I believe. And it just did not get logged onto their account, or it didn't get applied to their account, so it showed they were showing as being late. And so we are just, they're asking, we need to just waive these charges for them. That's what this is. So I make a motion to waive the charges for the 10 homeowners who were charged late fees for assessments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the next one dealt with an LLC who purchased a home on the courthouse steps. And along with that purchase of the home came some late fees, and he was requesting that we waive those.
Actually, he was requesting a waiver of the late fees, the interest, and he was responsible for the entire 2015 assessment, and he's asking for that to be prorated.
So there's three things.
Yes.
That we prorate the association dues for 2015, and that we waive the interest from the late payments from January till now.
Correct.
I move to disapprove.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is in favor of disapprove.
I move to disapprove his request.
In favor
We're
of.
good, right.
Do I need to restate?
Yes, no. If I vote aye, that's in favor of disapprove.
Yes.
Correct.
Is that an aye?
That's my vote.
Let's see.
All right,
The next item is the withdrawal of a petition for arbitration with regards to recall. What we cited was the condo, the appropriate Florida Rule of 61 Bravo 80.109 withdrawal or dismissal of petition. What this means is if the board approves this, then the board would request from the arbitrator to withdraw. We would submit a petition to withdraw. The recall would take effect immediately.
However, it allows the board member who has been recalled to file a petition
Within 60 days.
challenging the validity of the recall. All I want to say is I'm totally in favor of letting the recall play out. The claim by Mr. Longden's attorney was that they could reduce the number of parcels by the number of delinquent accounts, and they asked for documentation that the delinquent accounts had been had their votes rescinded. There was no documentation to that. There was a board vote. No letters were sent as required by 720. No letters were sent to the people whose votes were to be supposedly rescinded. After the last board that was recalled, they had meeting minutes wherein the new board cited the old board because they did exactly the same thing. They voted to rescind the votes, and they failed to send out documentation to the owners. No documentation was sent to the owners.
May I ask a question? Was the board of directors, when they voted in the spring, were they aware that letters had to be sent to the members?
We did not vote to rescind voting rights.
But
We
no
only
letters
voted-
were sent out even
No,
for
you're
usage?
not required to do it for usage. You're only required to
Yes,
do
you
it
are.
for voting
You're required
rights.
to do it for usage.
No, you're not.
When you suspend usage rights, you have to send notification. You gotta have, they have
So-
to have 14 day
Where does
notification.
it say that? It
It's
doesn't
in
say that.
720.
In 720,
Yes, ma'am, it
in
is.
720, it states that it's just for voting rights.
No, it doesn't
Suspension of
actually.
usage.
It says suspension of usage as well. So, in other words, these people who had their usages suspended should not have their usages suspended because they never received a letter stating
And
their
that is
usages
exactly,
suspended.
Unless it was for finance.
However, the 2014 and prior people were notified, so the
no, they
only ones,
weren't.
they were sent out a letter. Yes, ma'am, they were.
Then we
signed it.
have statements from Rhonda and from Ray, who Yvonne believes above everybody else, Rhonda, that no
No, just
letters
about
were
you.
sent out. Just
Not
above me.
not in 2015, no, but in 2014,
No,
2013, and
in
2012,
that
they were.
we have the 2012, 2013, 2014, they were never sent out. We have statements, and those went to the they were sent to Mr. Londa's attorney.
Well, I know for a fact that when I was on the board, we actually voted and
You
had to make sure
voted.
that, and
You
she
voted,
sent out the letters.
but it wasn't done. Then why did they sign a statement to say no letters?
Do you have those statements?
They were sent, yeah, they're on SharePoint.
But that was something that Rhonda always made a point to tell the board, hey, you gotta vote on this so we can send out the two
They were not,
notifications.
well then why did she sign to say they were not sent out?
I don't know, but they.
We also checked, I'd say one of the poster people for never paying their assessments. We checked some of the files, and there was nothing in the file. And if anybody was gonna get a letter, it would be, I'm not gonna say the name, but there's one who owes about 10 grand.
Well, you only sent them one letter to suspend your privileges until they pay their dues up.
Okay, but he never had a letter at all, neither did any
10
of
grand,
the,
you're talking years.
neither did any of the other people.
Yeah.
Neither did these people. I mean, either they perjured themselves and signed a statement to say nothing was sent out. They
I
sent
know
out
that I have asked
They
in the
sent
past.
out delinquent letters. Now, we had delinquent letters, but there was nothing in the delinquent letters to say what their penalty was. All it was stated in the delinquent letters that their
Their rights have
penalty
been
would be.
suspended.
No, that's not what it said. Because
The letter I
nothing was
saw,
sent
that's what it
out.
said, the
Well, then
suspension of
nothing,
usage
then
rights.
why did they sign an affidavit to say they were not suspended?
I
But
don't know,
no
I have to
letters
go talk
were
to
sent
Rhonda.
out. They signed it, and you can look at it on SharePoint.
I'd like to express, in my opinion, a sense of urgency to go ahead with the vote on this recall. I think we have endured enough financial constraints and anguish with this woman, and I think it needs to end.
I mean, when you came to my door, it wasn't about firing for services at work, it was about your daughter. That's fine, that's in the past, but your big thing was to save the homeowners money. That was your big thing. You wanted to get us in a positive, you wanted to get rid of first services, you wanted to save money for the homeowners. With you continuing this and not being gracious, you're costing the homeowners more money, and it's so unfair. Just let things go and start over, and don't cost any more money, because we're the homeowners, we pay that money. And I know that you are dead set on sitting where you're sitting, but think about the homeowners that don't want to spend any more money on this. And you would be so well respected if you would just say, okay, I hear the voices of the people that really want to save money, and that's my intent, I want to save money. So if you're fighting this, it tells me that you don't really want to save money. So I'm just asking you as a personal homeowner to let everything go, and let's not spend any more money on this, okay?
The one reason I'm fighting this is to keep First Service from coming back.
Okay, I'm gonna stop, no.
Yes.
No, I'm gonna stop you right there, because we're in an executive session that was supposed to be confidential, in which I stated that Ron and I were going to meet with First Service. Not even a week later, a post was on Facebook that's been screenshotted and saved that we are bringing First Service back. No one outside that board knew that another board member and I were meeting with First Service. And in that meeting, we told First Service that they were not coming back. They wanted to come back the next Monday, and we said no. We said if this association ever chooses to have a company come in and manage it, they would have to go out for bids, just like everyone else. But that was not going to happen anytime soon. So for you to state and to tell other people something that you know to be false is irresponsible.
I did
And it
not-
does a disservice and it undermines what this very board is trying to do,
I
which is to
did-
move forward. I have no interest in blaming First Service. I have no interest in blaming you. I have an interest in solving the problems that have been created and moving forward. That's it, because this association, and you know this, has a lot of serious issues
It does.
on its plate. Now, we can sit here and play the blame game all day long because you're just in that pot as well as First Service. There's a whole lot of people in the blame pot. And we can do that. But what benefit does that serve this association when we are looking at a liability that could bankrupt us?
Absolutely.
What benefit does it do? It does absolutely nothing. And when you make comments like that, it is irresponsible and it is not indicative of a board member who seeks to work with the other board members. That's exactly what it is. Now, you can believe that personally, but for you to state it as a board member is wrong. Because you know it is wrong. Because there is nothing that we have done as a board that indicates that First Service is coming back. You cannot point to one action, not one, but you continue to make irresponsible comments like that. What good does that serve other than just to support some reality that you have constructed?
During the recall, this was exactly what was on Facebook and on.
Excuse me, during the recall, we are no longer, that's
That ship has
done.
sailed, like Ron said.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I am so happy with April. She's doing a fantastic job, and now she's not being micromanaged by somebody on the board. Don't let me finish. She's an excellent part of this board. She's an excellent part of our community, and she doesn't cost nearly as much as First Services. So for you to jump ahead and say they're coming back is just improper. Let's go forward. Let's stop spending legal money that you have gone over the top spending. And if you would just do the right thing and look at all the homeowners that just want to be positive and go forward, you would have a lot of people saying, wow, she did the right thing. That's all I'm saying.
So just 2 points. So it's clear that it is not the intention of this board to get First Services back.
Again, as I said, if this board ever chooses to have a management company come in, a committee will be established, it would go out for bids, there would be public input, they would come, do their proposals, it would be voted on, just like it was before, and that was about a 2-year process. That is what is going to take place.
Just wanted to make sure that we're all clear on that.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm not sure I trust that, and I'm gonna
Well,
be honest.
that's okay,
with you.
that's okay. You don't have to trust me, just let our actions speak for themselves. But for her to say that to the association members who then will put that on Facebook, that does nothing but create animosity and divide this community. And that is the last thing that we need right
Well,
now.
blame the homeowners that are putting it on Facebook, because
Yeah,
she's not.
'cause I'm
Yes.
not.
So,
Well, where did
where
he get the information when where did he get the information when the only time it was mentioned that 2 board members were going to meet with First Service was in a closed executive
Who are you
session
saying he?
with the attorney?
Who?
It would happen to be your husband. And she's got the screenshot of it.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Well,
So I'll check
There
with
it
him
is.
when I
Thank
get home.
goodness
Well,
you should be here.
there it is.
But, okay,
And it
that's
was,
fine.
and when it was done, the only people who knew that Rod and I were meeting with First Service were those who were in that board, those who were in that meeting. And I doubt very much our attorneys, and I doubt very much that anyone else on this board got in touch with your husband to have a conversation about First Service and that we're having a meeting and then all of a sudden we're gonna hire First Service back. I need a board that I can trust. I don't need a board that will agree with me. Okay? I don't have to agree. With the creation of the usage policy, with the usage policy, we had several disagreements. And I worked with them to address their concerns.
Okay.
Her issue is, well, you just don't want a dissenting voice. No, I need a board I can trust. That's what I need.
If we could kind of bring this back to point. You know,
Okay.
This discussion is not about First Services.
No.
It was just interjected as a side issue that doesn't have anything to do with it. Yes.
Is there
Well,
a
I
motion?
think
Is
I'm
there a
entitled
motion?
to respond to the accusation of micromanaging.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree. Go ahead, then I'll make my last comment.
Okay. then April, do you feel that,
No, we're not gonna do that. You're not gonna put April on the spot. No, that is not, it's unprofessional.
it's unprofessional, but let me tell you.
Then you can ask her in public, but you are not gonna put
Within
the
a
general
week.
manager, you are not, I will not permit you
All right,
as the
then
board
that's-
president to
that's
put the
fine.
general
I
manager
did
on the spot like that. It's not going to
I'm not
happen.
gonna ask her.
Thank
But
you.
what I'm gonna say is that within less than a week of April coming on board, Ms. Crouch, myself, everybody involved with the other board, Ms. Twigg, step back and let April run it. And that's the truth.
And
You
I'll
can ask the
attest to
staff,
that.
you can ask anybody.
I will attest to that.
Yes.
And then my only
absolutely.
other comment is I've been in Holley by the Sea since August 1992. In the 23 years that I've been here, Alex,
You know that's funny.
I'm sorry, but you attesting to
No,
it, you're not part of the board, so I don't.
No, don't. You're
Okay,
not-
okay.
Don't interrupt her.
I can just tell you that, in my view, there has never been a board member in the last 23 years that has represented this community better than Alex Crawford, and you're losing an asset to this board. Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, Lucy, this is already a done deal.
I know.
I mean, this is a done deal. And I knew that last Friday when the president called a meeting of 3 board members.
All right, here we go again. I
No,
called on
it's
Thursday,
true.
I called
Yes,
on
it's true.
Thursday to meet with you in order to not blindside you, because I didn't want to do to you what you did to some board members back in December of last year. I then asked Kevin to be there just as someone who could be a third-party innocent witness. No board business was discussed, no votes were taken. We simply informed you that it was going to be on the agenda.
I
And
believe we did
that
discuss
is
it.
something, we discussed this, and that
And
it was
it's not
going
board
to
business?
be on the agenda. That is what we discussed, so that you would not be blindsided, because we wanted to give you a little more respect than what you had showed former board members. So you wouldn't be blindsided, that's it.
Sounds like a violation of the Florida Sunshine Law to me.
No, it's not, because no board business was discussed. We told them it was going to be on the agenda, and that was it. We did not vote, we did not.
Asking the board
Take
member
order.
to resign is not board business.
I didn't ask her to resign. We told her what was going to be on the agenda. I didn't ask her to resign. We told her, this is what's going to be on the agenda. I didn't ask her to resign, and if she's telling you otherwise, then I'm afraid she's lying to you.
I
Okay,
move.
Brinkley Street. Just to
Oh,
clarify,
oh, I'm
back
sorry,
on,
go ahead.
no, back on point. If the recall is certified, you withdraw the arbitration. The recalled members can have 60 days to appeal that.
Yes.
Yes, if the.
Now, they do that on their own dime, right?
Yes,
They don't.
But we would, as an association, we would be obligated to respond, but
Right.
yes,
But that the recalled members would have to spend their own legal money in order to
Yes.
fight that.
yes.
Thank
And
they-
use our own legal counsel because Crew and Crew represents the association.
Got it. That's all I'm thinking.
However, should that motion succeed, Joe, the member who is recalled is removed from their seat in 5 days, yet they have 60 days.
Well, they're removed immediately and have 5 days to turn over
Correct.
association documents.
Correct. I move that we withdraw the petition for arbitration as stated in 61B, Florida Administrative Code, 61B-80.109, withdrawal or dismissal of petition settlement.
My second, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that concludes the portion of old business and new business. We now open it up for open forum.
I'm not sure about the rest of the members here, but what got my attention when I watched the video of the annual meeting was the information about this outstanding federal case. And then I noticed at the first meeting of this board, which was a special meeting, there was a question answered about insurance coverage. And I believe your response was that currently we were not covered, but that that was being worked on. And what I'm hoping for, because I'm not losing, I'd like to sleep, do we have any further, can you give us an update? Do we know?
There will be a formal announcement of what's going on shortly, working with the attorneys to get that put together. So,
Okay.
You have to be careful with what is said.
Oh, I know, and I absolutely do not want to put anybody in a position where they violate confidentiality. I did want to ask though, if we are not able to get insurance coverage, do we have an option of suing for a service for putting us in this kind of a position? Is that something this board would consider?
Yes, it was for a service. That is something that we would cross that bridge when we pass, but my obligation is to the association, not to for service, so I don't want to, I'm not going to.
You would do whatever's in the best interest.
I would do what
Yes.
is in the best
Okay,
interest of the association.
Okay, so
Yes,
you're looking out for
absolutely.
us in this, because I'm
Yes,
gonna tell you, I'm
absolutely.
scared. I am extremely worried about the
Again.
outcome to be.
Again, Ms. Crouch,
I know,
what was voted on this evening to pay them what was voted is a separate issue.
It's
Okay.
hard, as
So
a
I
member, it's
understand-
hard,
I
let me finish.
understand.
As a member, it's really hard to see it that way, because it's like,
But see, I live here too. I live here too. My,
Okay.
my home is here as well, and trust me, I value
and
my
you don't
home.
wanna see a for sale sign in front of the rec
Absolutely
center,
not.
okay?
No, absolutely not.
All right, no.
And I have children as well.
Walter, 1948 Resort Street. I just wanted clarification. She said something about we don't have insurance. That's not true. We have insurance, it's just the case that is pending is not insured.
Yes, I think that's what she meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what she was talking about.
I think everybody understood that.
All right, any other public comments? All right, it is 7:07, this meeting is adjourned.